What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Brunch with DESB. If you're new here, hello. If you're not new here, welcome back. And if you're watching on YouTube, welcome to now my basement. I am just really giving you guys an impromptu house tour on these podcasts lately. As you guys know, we moved about a month and a half ago. So I lost my podcast studio, which was sad, but also I feel like a lot of evolution of podcasting lately has been people just sitting down on their couches, hanging out, whatever. So I like the vibe that we're giving, but we are most definitely giving a home tour. Okay, so I'm in my basement today. The lighting is a little bit iffy here because the sun keeps coming in and out, and there are actually windows down here. So as we venture through this podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, you might also see it brighten up in here and the sun comes out, and what a good feeling. So happy Sunday. It's kind of funny because actually, see, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun. Do. Sunday, fun day. Me and you. Okay. So, I'm hanging out here. I'm actually home alone this Sunday. The kids are with Wyatt, and he took them to Ohio, which was fun. Fun little mom's weekend here for me. I actually hung out with my mom the whole time. I don't know about you, but when I'm home alone, I'm calling my mom. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do that. And it's actually Saturday today. So it's funny because I'm recording. Since I told y'all I've been editing my own stuff, I have gotten lazy with when I record. Not lazy with when I record, but the weeks have just been so busy. And that's why I had to stop having an editor right now too, is not only to save money and do it myself, but also I can't have my podcast in by the time they need it. So it's weird because I'm actually recording today and you're actually going to see this literally tomorrow. So it's kind of like a real time podcast, which is, pretty fun. Besides having to edit it the day of and stuff, it's not a bad gig, but I do think maybe between Thursday and Friday is when I usually record. So anyways, if you're here, thanks so much. This is kind of my diary, my place to word vomit, my place of added therapy through the week. I recently came across a TikTok that actually said something about it was actually fucking hilarious. I shared it on Brunch with DESB, and it was one thing I hate is a bitch who doesn't overshare. Because why the fuck not? Tell me all the drama, tell me all the tea, tell me all, whatever. It's life, and I've said this a couple podcasts ago now. If you're not gossiping, what is your life? I'm not saying it has to be negative gossip. It's just to talk about what's going on in the world, pop culture, maybe what's going on in your hometown. If you're going to sit here and look in my eyes and tell me that you do not do that with a friend, your best friend, your sister, your sibling, your mom, you're fucking lying. And I'm just going to say it. Okay. It doesn't make gossiping doesn't make you a bad person. We're fucking human. We're meant to discuss things. We're meant to have differing opinions so that conversation can lead to growth or evolution or, hey, I didn't think about it that way, whatever. It's not a negative thing. Now, in some cases, sure, it can be. And also, if you're going to sit here and tell me you've never talked shit before, you're also fucking lying. So don't act holier than me showing up here on a Sunday I hate it when Des talks about pop culture. I hate it when whatever. Bro, you just talked about your coworker to your mom last night. Okay, shut up. Thanks so much. My weekend was really filled with a lot of gossip. My mom and I got to catch up. We got to chat. You know us. You know you and your mom. We love to scroll Facebook and just see what everyone's doing. And the funny thing with Facebook is people fucking love to overshare on Facebook. If there is one thing the internet has taught me, as much as I overshare, I very much have a boundary now of having this thought process in my head of, is that worth saying out loud or no? And I'm pretty good at saying I'm just going to keep that to myself. There's certain things where you just learn, that really doesn't need to be said because who am I saying that for? Oh, I'm saying that for affirmation, or I'm saying that because I want people to say, oh, you're so great, XYZ. So I have more of an awareness of that, not all the time, but a lot of the time. However, people, hometown, small town, college people who are friends on Facebook, they love to overshare there. So I will catch up with some people some nights I'm like, man, I haven't thought about this person in a minute. I wonder what they're up to. And girl, I would just get soaked in on their feed. I'll catch up with who they're hanging out with now. I'll be like, oh, not good for them. Typically, it's all in good faith, but sometimes you come across some crazy shit. You read some comments, you see some fights, you're just eating your popcorn. It's fun. It's a fun time. So my mom and I got to just scroll through Facebook, scroll through TikTok, even people we don't know, catching up on their drama. It's fun, okay? If you can't enjoy a little bit of that, you can't be that fun to hang out with. I'm sorry, okay? I'm just going to leave it there. Today actually starts I think it's my first full month with my Oura ring. And I haven't really given you guys an update on that because I have tried to eliminate reviewing things like this so fast. Like, oh, I love it. Because when I had a Whoop watch, I really liked it for like 2 weeks. And so I shared that. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. Stopped wearing it after like a month. Okay. Wearing a watch, wearing something on my wrist at all times, not fathomable for me. So I noticed I've been wearing an Apple Watch since, 2016, 2017. One of the first generation Apple Watches, I had it, And there's a lot of positives with an Apple Watch, especially if you have an Apple phone. Google Calendar comes through there, text, calls, etc. But I've noticed since I've gotten rid of my Apple Watch, not only do I have this mentally free opportunity to just move my body and feel grateful for it. Like I'm not like counting my steps all the time. I'm not hyper obsessed over like, oh, if I don't start my watch, this workout doesn't count. Oura still tracks like certain stuff, but it's not necessarily like an activity tracker. It's more of like a life tracker. I don't know how to explain it. Anyways, point being, I'm really liking my Oura watch or Oura ring versus my Apple Watch. And I've also noticed it gives me more of a boundary from my phone as well because here's the thing. If there's an emergency, you're going to call me and I'm going to know you're calling. Okay. If you're just texting me, hey, what's up? I don't need to read that right away. So I noticed it started to affect, my day-to-day, my workouts, anything, because I would just get sucked in on my phone if I got a text. So I like that I don't get notifications now as much as I thought I would miss it. So it's been a month. I actually have these really cute ring covers for it. I only usually wear it during my workout, but I worked out this morning, so I still have it on. And I'll go ahead and link them. Oh my God, the baby is like literally pushing out my belly button right now. So uncomfortable. Go back. Oh my God, it's pushing back. It's like, bitch, I'm sexy. Oh, don't call, just text me. So anyways, Oura ring's going good. That is an example of my ADHD. Okay, I think it's very mild, but I know it's there. All right. So Oura ring is going good. I would definitely recommend for anyone who is looking to track sleep better, have something that you don't have to charge every fucking day. I only charge this like once every 5 days and it takes like maybe 30 minutes. I wear it all the time. It's also like gold. You can choose your color, but I got gold. So it's also like a really cute accessory. The only issue I had with was sizing because I have a size 8 and your pointer finger is the best finger to wear it on. I have a size 8. The only thing I worry about is living in the Midwest, especially when it's cold, my fingers are smaller. When it's hot, my fingers are bigger, right? We all know blood vessels dilate and constrict, but also with pregnancy. I don't think I've swollen a lot. Like my normal wedding ring still fits, etc. So I don't think that affects me as much as some people. So if you're someone who swells very hard in pregnancy, I would just be careful about your size because you can't just resize this bitch. Like this is the only one you get, So that part does kind of suck. I will say that. All right. So a few stories today before we get into a question and answer. The first thing that I do need to talk about is my new Netflix show that I'm watching. In number one, I started to watch Baby Reindeer. This is like a stalker show. It was going pretty well. And then I kind of got distracted. I was like laying in bed one day, got distracted. So TBD on that one. But then I switched it to a more feasible show in my mind called Unlocked. This is a prison show. And it's like a 6-week prison. What's the word? It's documentary, but it is a experiment. There's the word, experiment. So all of these convicts now don't have to be locked inside. So typically they did like this 23 hours of lockdown. So like you're in your cell for fucking 23 hours a day and you get an hour out. Some people, I would argue, would hear that and be like, yeah, they fucking deserve it because they're, convicted rapists, murderers, shit like that. However, on the other hand, if these people end up getting introduced back into society, would you want someone in society who is quite literally coming off a 23-1 lockdown? Because the answer is fucking no for me. They would be going nuts, okay? It's a very different part of life. On top of, imagine going to jail, prison, in, the early 90s and coming out now. What the fuck is TikTok? What's Facebook? What is Instagram? What is a phone? What is an iPhone? Why does an iPhone look like a computer? It would be shocking, right? So the goal of the experiment is to create a better environment in a prison. Very interesting to watch. There is these two guys on there, though, and I'm blanking on one of their names. One of them name is East Side, and the other one, I don't remember. It's his cellie. His cellie, his roommate, his cellmate, you want to be my cellie? I'm going to start saying, do you want to be my cellie? To anyone. So, that East Side and his cellie they bother me so fucking much. They're both meth heads, and they got in there for drugs and assault and battery. They still somehow get meth in prison. And you can just tell in their tactics, and maybe it's their tics from being sober or high, I don't know, that bother me. But also the way that they speak, I'm just I cannot understand a word you're saying. And they're just two white boys being sellies. And they're my two main not liked characters. I really like Tiny, he's funny as hell, and Randall. But also Randall's been getting under my nerves. So anyways, if you're watching, you'll have to let me know who your favorite cellie is. Next story that we had this week, Caitlin from, what'd she play, Iowa? I'm already blanking. I didn't pull up the story to read verbatim. Basically, the big roar in the media this week was that WNBA players are underpaid, and there is a gender wage gap. Listen, I am a woman for women. I am a woman for women, but also I'm a woman for women being paid correctly. No motherfucking doubt. But when we're going to talk sports, the reason why certain categories of sports get paid so much is because of viewership, attendance, memorabilia, XYZ, okay? The same people bitching about the gender wage gap in women's basketball are the same people not fucking showing up and supporting the WNBA. If you are bitching about the WNBA only paying Caitlin, I believe, and again, I'm estimating, I think it was around $80K a year salary. If you're pissed about that, then you need to start showing the fuck up and supporting the WNBA, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Crickets? Yeah, because none of you fucking do, including women. A lot of women were like, she deserves more, I completely agree. But guess what? If they don't have that money to give, what are they going to do? Pull it out of fucking thin air? Okay? We hope that Caitlin, as well as these other really great players that got drafted this year in the WNBA, I hope that they continue to make a change in women's sports. Maybe we get those viewerships up in the WNBA. We get a little bit more respect in the WNBA. But who are you turning on a fucking Saturday night? Okay? Caitlin or LeBron? With all due respect, I'm watching LeBron, okay? The point is there. Now that we have this understanding and this painted imagery, maybe we're all going to start going out of our way to support the WNBA, support women's sports, etc. People just don't watch women's sports. And again, I was a woman athlete. I fucking get it. It's annoying, but what are we going to do? Put up fake fans at our sporting events? The answer is no. So the big uproar was about her salary. Don't get me wrong, it's fucked up to think of how vastly different the NBA and the WNBA are. But a lot of it does not come down to them being gender driven, okay? It comes down to what fucking money they have and they're available to put out there. Now, in the very same breath, we then saw Caitlin get a Nike, I think it was Nike sponsorship. And again, don't come for me if this is incorrect of the brand. I don't fucking know. I didn't follow it too much. I just wanted to touch on that being an athlete. She got I think it was a Nike sneaker deal. Actually, I do have a screenshot of it for $20 fucking million. Bruh. Okay, she's doing just fucking fine. Her only salary is not just coming from the WNBA, okay? She's going to be getting endorsements, commercials. She's already made so much fucking money in NIL for college, which was not even available when we were in college. She's doing just motherfucking fine. Now, I'm not saying, again, that it doesn't suck because she plays women's sports, etc., but how about we encourage her to be the fucking change and keep championing to keep, am I using that word right? Keep being the champion, whatever. Do you get it? Let her be the face of the WNBA, you know? And during the final NCAA game, the opposite coach, who won, I think it was South Carolina, if I'm correct. Again, I'm pulling it out of thin air, but I did watch the game. The coach actually gave recognition to Caitlin Clark and was like, I hope that you continue to be the change for the WNBA, women's basketball, blah, 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 blah. So I just thought that was funny. Everyone was so, well, men make more. In most cases, in the workplace, corporate place, that's fucked up. Let's close that wage, that gap for gender. Absolutely. But if we're going to look directly at sports and we're looking at the available finances to give, if you're not watching women's basketball and you're bitching about it, shut up. Okay? Myself included. I don't watch women's basketball. But guess who I did watch this year? Was Caitlin Clark when she played. So again, let her continue to pave the fucking path of hopefully more people watching WNBA, getting maybe passionate about it, younger women being encouraged to go for the WNBA, XYZ. Okay, that was one story I just wanted to fucking talk about. Pissed me off because I was like, this is the one probably situation sport-wise that doesn't have to do with whether you're on men or women's. Like it's just the fact of the matter of viewership, media, shit like that. Okay. Next up, Ashanti and Nelly, engaged and pregnant. There's not much more to say that besides the fact when I saw that I almost felt like I was in a fever dream of like the early 2000s. And even for us, you know, I'm 29. I'm going to tell you guys that every week. And some of you guys might be older, some of you guys might be younger, but we still kind of grew up with Nelly and Ashanti, you know, but I could only imagine being, say, 35, 36, where like you purely grew up on them. Like you were like the teenager growing up with them. I came into Nelly back when it was like, you know, Tim McGraw and it's all in my head. I'm thinking about it over and over again. That song hit so fucking hard, even though it played over and over again. You know, let me see you what, yo girls, yo girls, you know. So I don't really know like the old school Nelly, but you know, we can still appreciate it. So that was just exciting news. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm reading the cover of a Tiger Beat magazine. If you know, you know. Next up, Simone Biles was on Call Her Daddy this week. I didn't get to listen to the totality of the interview. I stopped right when they were starting to talk about her husband. And how people got in such a fucking uproar about him saying he didn't know who Simone Biles was at the time. I could go on about that, okay? I just think it was blown out of proportion. But regardless, Simone is happy, okay? She is doing well. She's planning on going to Paris this year for the Olympics, which I'm very excited about the Olympics. I thoroughly just enjoy athletics. I love watching people. I love watching the best of the best. So Simone is pumped up. She's ready to go to, I was going to say Tokyo. That's where she was in a few years ago. Paris. And what happened was back in Tokyo, I think this would have been 2020, she got the twisties. So if you're not in gymnastics, I know I'm not. I learned a lot in that podcast about just kind of what the twisties are, why it's not talked about a lot, etc. So anyway, she pulled out of her events other than she finished on individual beam. It was very interesting to hear her perspective as not just like the social media star now, but also as an athlete of how that affected her. And one of the biggest things I took away was that she is just like us, right? I mean, anyone is, any celebrity even is, but she said when she landed on vault, and I mean completely fucked up, her first thought was, what are they saying on Twitter? And I thought that was so powerful because it just goes to show, like, again, we look at these people and we're like, oh, they probably don't care. They have enough money. Like, oh, boo-hoo, go cry with your dollar bills. It's like what we say online still hurts people, you know? And I'm not here saying, oh, don't bully people. I'm like, listen, if you want to say something funny, like this whole thing with Kim Kardashian and Taylor Swift right now, roast it. Okay, like again, at the end of the day, they're fine. It's just a reminder that like we are human, you know? And so I know I've trash talked people on the internet, not like terribly, but like I've made memes or something regarding like a situation. That's fine. But I'm also not someone who like I'm going in on like page 6 in E! News, just like giving my total opinion. Like I'll participate in a funny meme sharing, but I'm not going to like pretend like they give a fuck. Okay. And whenever I do talk about celebrities, like even when I talked about Selena Gomez here a few months back, I was like, listen, she's doing just fine without my opinion. Okay. Like I'm just sharing it because freedom of speech and I want to share. She's annoying. And I think she's actually doing better. So, Selena, I'm glad you're doing better. But regardless, Simone was on there, and it was a great podcast. So I highly encourage you guys to listen to it, especially if you're a previous athlete or you just like love the Olympics, you love gymnastics, Simone Biles, etc. Gymnastics was pretty much the one thing I never did, always wanted to do, but I always was told it was like a very expensive sport, you know, to like get good at. And it also took a lot of time, which I did not have because I wanted to play every other sport. Okay, so the last thing I really wanted to talk about specifically was the Tortured Poets Department album. So first off, if you're annoyed with that, politely exit, okay? There was a meme, and I even said it last night on my Instagram. If you can't accept me at my Taylor Swift has a new album phase, then you don't deserve me at my best. And that is so accurate because if you love Taylor Swift, if you just love her music lyrically, whatever it might be, when a new album drops, it's exciting because you're not just getting this similish, you know, blah, 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 like music that is just about like sex, drugs, rock and roll, fucking whatever. Like you're getting stories. And I think that's what captures me the most about Taylor Swift is when I listen to her songs and her lyrics and her like literal poetry, especially in this album, we're learning things. We're getting a story. It's a storyline. It's a song with a meaning and a message. And you know she writes so deeply from her heart. And so it's always interesting to kind of get a glimpse inside of that. Okay, so Tortured Poets Department has been just so good. I've listened to every song. Off the top of my head, and what really just continues to bounce out at me on the album, Down Bad is one of my favorites. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. Oh, man, they're tied for first. I think I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is my top fave. Then Down Bad. I really like So Long London. And oh my God, there's quite a few others, but like at this point, I haven't even been able to like memorize a whole album. Like Relax. Okay, she released 2 albums. That was nuts. Not shocked she had something up her sleeve. But the biggest thing that we saw was a lot of lyric poetry. I almost called it lyritry. Lyrical poetry. And there was a lot of songs that, I mean, some of those lyrics were fucking dark, you know, like it. And that's the thing. If you take a minute and just read over the lyrics of a song, you will have your next Instagram caption. Do you know what I mean? Like she knows how to rhyme and how to say and how to do and how to make you feel. So there was like this whole song about Kim Kardashian. That's the biggest thing right now. It's called Thank You, Amy, but Kim is capitalized, which is crazy, okay? I feel like this album just had a lot of balls in it. You know, she said really fuck everyone. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of being put down. I'm tired of having the weight of the world on my shoulders because I feel like everyone has always hated me, XYZ. She just kind of claimed her power in this album. And also, I think everyone's able to tell their own story when they're ready to tell it and how they want to tell it. So for her to quote, still, you know, bring up Kanye and Kim, blah, 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 she's allowed to. That is traumatizing, okay? That would be like someone, you know, telling me, hey, Des, like, can you just stop referencing the fact that, like, you had a son in the NICU and, like, Archie had a CPAM, et cetera. It's like, bitch, no, because that was fucking traumatizing. Like, and I'm allowed to share those stories when I want. So it's kind of the same, I mean, very relative, but, like, same vibe, right? It's like if she wants to share how that evolved her and made her into who she is, go off, you know? So this song, Thank You, Amy, it was crazy. She basically said, you know, fuck you. I'll never forget how you made me feel, but you also allowed me to heal. She still thanks her because at the end of the day, if it wasn't for her, she probably wouldn't be where she is. Because, you know, she gained a lot of grit, built a legacy. And then she kind of dragged Kim at the end, just basically saying, like, your daughter, your family, your kids are going to come home singing my songs. And that gagged me for a minute. You know, I was like, oh, woo! That was heated. So there was, again, just a lot of good memes too that came out of that. There's a lot of other songs too, just, with love, and I guess her and Joe Alwyn obviously were like speaking about like having a family, and they didn't. But there was also one part in the lyrics, and I wish I could pull it up off the top of my head, but she basically said there was an illusion, and you guys can Google it, which song it was in the lyrics, that maybe there had been, and let me preface this by saying this is a bold assumption, maybe that there had been miscarriages. I think that's a very bold statement to put out there, but I don't think people are like saying it in a negative way. But she spoke about like these, basically, was it like maybe angel faces or ghost faces? I told you I was going to have kids, but now I'm not, or something like that. And someone pulled out that reference and was like, maybe this was either just a conversation that was ghosted, kind of killed, or kind of referenced of like the loss of like telling people that they were going to have a kid and then didn't, XYZ. I don't know. It's her story to tell regardless, but there's some bold accusations on some of these lyrics, which you can't help but dissect them, because they're meant to be dissected. Like, that's Taylor. She wants you to read into her music. She knows what she's fucking doing. I mean, you even look at the past 6 to 8 months of her styling and her wardrobe. She has like leaned so deeply into this tortured poets and like giving an ode to this time of like history and fashion and stuff. And I mean, I think she kills it. It very much fits her aesthetic. But the song Fortnite with Post Malone was also really good. I wish Posty was on it a little bit more. Like, he was very much just a feature, but I loved their presentation together in the music video, and they were like kind of grasping each other at one point, like touching each other. And I was like, Travis, number one. And number two, I was like, why is this kind of hot? But I don't know. If you guys have watched the music video, you have to let me know how you feel. 'Cause I'm like, are you guys going to kiss? Are we going to kiss on this? So anyways, TPD, I'm not going to keep talking about it, but I will say it was just great. And people are rumoring now that she's going to perform in Coachella weekend 2. I would be fucking shocked, because I feel like right now she's really just enjoying her life. You can tell she's, maybe getting high a lot, drinking, enjoying life. You can just tell she's in that vibe. So I'm like, I don't think she would want to perform, and that would be crazy. I can see the speculation, but I'm not going to bite into that one. I think she's good. You guys let me know what you think. With that being said, we want to talk about Tortured Poets Department. We might as well talk about the BFit membership, because if you're not a member of my BFit workouts, monthly workouts, this month's theme was Tortured Poets Department. So we did a full kind of like theme of Taylor Swift this month. So for example, Tortured Leg Department, The Bolter Back, Fresh Out of the Slammer, Guilty as Sin, and Down Bad Circuit were our workouts for the month. And as you like open those workouts, there are different superset names. So like one of them, the show is starting, outfit change, concert encore, private jet home. That was like our circuit day. Ford, Fresh Out the Slammer, Fortnite Flex, So Long London, or Arms, Taylor's Triceps, Poets Push, stuff like that. So I like to have fun with those on my workouts. As always, every workout is able to be done at home, at gym, pregnancy, postpartum. I follow all my workouts all the time, whether I am pregnant right now or just pushed out a baby. All right. I make these knowing, hey, if I was at this point in my life, what would I have to do? If I'm at this point in my life, what do I need to do, etc. So that you don't have to just swap programs all the time, or now go, oh, fuck, I'm pregnant. What can I do? It's like, no questions asked. You're in a good place. So make sure you join the BFit membership. You can use code brunchwithdesb for $10 off your first month. We are also celebrating 1 year of membership next month. So I'm trying to decide what to do. Something special, something glamorous. I'm almost thinking like a giveaway every week of the month of June within the membership. Like maybe something crazy too. Like, I don't know. That's one thing, but I'm also thinking of doing like a crazy, like, join the month for X amount to try it, XYZ. I don't know. I'm kind of trying to play. Do you guys like trials? Like, do you like, 48-hour trial of like using this, or 3-day trial, like stuff like that? Like, does that even like interest you? Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Other than that, this week I have been working a little bit more on my pregnancy update, pregnancy plan, which I'm excited. I am creating a separate pregnancy app plan. As much as I say you can use my workouts whenever, I know some people like just want to be doing something that is like regimented. You know, they want it to be more laid out for them. So I've been working on my pregnancy guide, definitely making waves. And I plan to record a lot, you know, in the next couple weeks for my exercises. But I wanted to make sure that I got an applicable belly to perform a lot of these movements. Because as much as I could do a bent over row at 24 weeks with dumbbells, when you do that at 32 weeks, your mechanics change, you know, whatever. So I wanted to make sure as I got bigger that I was actually still recording stuff, because it genuinely changes as your belly gets bigger. So I wouldn't want someone who's 34 weeks pregnant to look at me doing this movement at 20 weeks pregnant being like, oh, so what does it look like for me? You know, that type of deal. So I'm definitely not rushing it. I want it to be good. I want it to be well. And as of right now, there's like multiple phases. So you are doing this program from, you know, I mean, you can dabble in whatever you want throughout it because it's yours to keep. But you're essentially doing this program from week, 5, 6, when you find out you're pregnant, all the way to delivery, if that's something you want to follow. So between it being a one-time program or like a one-time like subscription, like it takes you through like quote 9 months, I'm kind of playing around with it because I don't know. I'm just trying to make sure I make sense too of like, okay, if I was pregnant, and I was consuming this, how would I use it? That's what I try to always make sure I run through in my head is like, okay, if I'm a consumer, like I'm genuinely purchasing this, how would I want to use it? Type of vibe. So we'll see. So my stupid camera overheated again. I really need to figure that out really soon. Because if it keeps overheating, it only really makes it to about 30 minutes and I have to take like a 30-minute break and then restart it. So if you guys haven't yet joined BetterHelp Therapy, make sure that you guys do. You can use code DESB, or you can choose at checkout where it says kind of like signing up for your month. You can choose the Brunch with DESB podcast as the one that sent you. I've been using BetterHelp Therapy since 2020. And if anything, I'm using it more now. And I always use it more during pregnancy and postpartum. Even if you feel like you have a handle on your mental health, it can be so helpful to just have someone unbiased to check into. I personally love utilizing their phone call opportunity for a session. Sometimes face-to-face interaction over Zoom can be very uncomfortable for me, or like over video. So I like to go ahead, put my headphones in, go on a walk outside and talk to my therapist. It makes me feel like I'm talking on the phone to a friend. If you sign up for BetterHelp, you do get matched with a therapist that is best for you. And you also have opportunity to kind of swap them out whenever you want. So I've had a few therapists that just like, I haven't really felt the vibe, and that's okay. Sometimes you got to test drive a few. So if you use BetterHelp, you find a therapist that you like, great. If you want to keep searching, you also have that opportunity too. Use code DESB at checkout, like I said, for 10% off your first month. I'm telling you, just try it for 1 month and then like keep going if you want. You can also adjust the amount of sessions that you get, how often you show up, etc. They sometimes give you extra like work pages and stuff to work on outside of therapy as well, which makes you feel really good. So if you are open for therapy and your heart's open to it, I promise it can help you. Make sure you use code DESB to get 10% off your first month today. All right, so let's dive into a few questions. We have a good array here sent in. This is on my personal account, so not just another mom. If you don't follow me there, make sure that you guys do. All right, so first question, let's just like go ahead and ask right off. What would you do if your husband is nowhere ready for kids, but you want one ASAP? So Wyatt and I were actually in the same boat with this. I very much wanted kids when we first got married. I think I said maybe within like a year. I was like, within a year, I want to have kids. And at this point, we were 24, going to be turning 25. And he was very much like, no, like 5 to 7 years, like dead ass. He was like not ready for that. And then as we continued to talk about it and people naturally started to ask, which I guess nowadays people try to not ask you like, oh, when are you guys going to explain your family? Whatever. But old people will still ask. Every time he replied to that question, it was always a shorter increment. So he would be like, oh, like we still want like about 5 years. And then 2 months later, he would be like, oh, probably like 3 years or so. And then 2 months after that, he'd be telling people, oh, probably within the next 2 years. And then the next time it was like, well, whenever we're ready. The biggest thing I remember, it was a very shifting moment for us. We were walking through Kroger and we were grocery shopping. And the only reason I very vividly remember this is because now looking back, I was actually pregnant and we didn't know it. So we had this like discussion on the car and on the way to the grocery store about just like expanding our family. We were in the process of looking for our first home, etc. Kind of just talking about like where we kind of see our marriage. We were married for about 6 months at this point. And we finally agreed at the point where we're like, hey, we know how to not make children, right? We know how they're made, so we know how to prevent it. But also, if it were to happen, are we in the position where I could like surprise you? Because that was the one thing I didn't want to do, is I didn't want it to be like a sad text message of like, fuck, like, I'm pregnant, like, you know. I wanted it to be able to be a very joyous, exciting thing, right? Like I didn't want him to come through the door and then me be sobbing like, fuck, I'm pregnant, I'm so sad. I wanted it to surprise him. And we both agreed we were at the point where if it did happen, you know, Lord willing at the time, that we could be excited about it and know that we could support that next journey. And then lo and behold, two weeks later, I found out I was pregnant, which at the time of that conversation, I was pregnant. So the biggest thing, honestly, is just to continue to keep that communication open. Because if one of your partner, like your counterpart, one of you guys is not ready, it takes two to tango. You know, you do want to make sure. But I will say, I feel like a lot of people, when you get pregnant, your immediate fear is like, oh my God, I'm going to have a baby. Bro, you have almost 10 months. So much changes in that time. So much maturity even occurs in that time. You have time to still like move if you want to, remodel if you want to. Like, it doesn't just mean like you're disabled from being pregnant right away. Like you have this baby in you and you can't move or you can't do anything. You have a lot of time to still like prepare and move your body and be able to be in a position of like supporting and helping and like stuff like that. So does that help? I hope so. How is the new house? New house is great. I'm really enjoying it. It's perfect. It makes me happy. I feel like I'm in a space of like zen, comfort, support. My village is like nearby. I'm able to, you know, call my mom and she can like drive over even easier, you know, and it's just like we're in a good space. I can't explain how perfectly it all worked out. And I'm just so grateful. It really does. When you work, live, sleep, breathe shit in one space, it has to be a sacred space for you. And I'm finally at the point where I can say like, this is a sacred space for me. So I really love it. Thank you so much. Someone asked, big wedding or elope, private ceremony vibe? Help, I'm so split. I'm so between this because I think it depends on your family size a little bit too. Or like if you can narrow down the amount of people that really give a shit, then I would say do a little private ceremony and then do like, we had a pretty big wedding. Like I think it was like 250 people. And I loved my wedding. We did it all big. You know, we did full wedding, full reception, etc. However, I can see on the other side the amount of people who I've not talked to since that wedding. And I'm like, you just fucking came and ate for free. Fuck off, you know, and I was obligated to invite you because you're my mom's cousin's cousin, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, I think the bigger guest list you get, it can get messy because you feel like if I invite my dad's cousin, I have to invite my mom's cousin. And then that means my husband has to be able to invite his cousin in there. It just adds up really fast. So if you kind of keep your boundaries small, I feel like then use the money that you get to save, go on a vacation for you. You know what I mean? Like make it about you. I feel like that would be the only thing I would have traded off is like the ability to be like, save the money to then put towards ourselves or like a down payment on a house or, you know what I'm saying? And not worry so much about pleasing everyone else. When it's like, if you weren't there for me throughout my relationship, why are you there for me on my wedding day? Oh, how do you stop rocking your kids to sleep? 18 months and still all that works. Once we got Maddox into a bed, like a big boy bed, we stopped rocking because we would get into bed and then create like a routine of like, okay, pick out 3 books, pick out 4 books, whatever. So once he was in a literal bed, that was when we really stopped rocking him. If I could still rock him to sleep right now, I would. Like, I understand the annoyance that it can cause because you have to like sit there and rock them till they're asleep. And it can be like, okay, shit, I got to like clean the kitchen. I got to whatever, blah, blah. But then you realize how fast that part of life goes by. And then you would do anything to like rock them to sleep again. Like, it's one of those emotional things. I understand some days you're like, fuck, I just want to like set him down and be able to like go take care of whatever I need to do. But also like if Maddox let me rock him till he was like 4, I wouldn't even care. You know, like I wish I could rock him to bed again. But also the next journey, aka like laying in bed together and being able to like read books together and tuck him in, it's a good journey too. So I would say, I don't know if your baby here 18 months is in a like big boy bed or not, but that's when it really changed for us, was once he actually got into like a bed. Tips for taking the kids on outings by yourself. Mine are feral and it stresses me out. Honestly, the more I've done it, the messier it was at the beginning, the more I've done it, the more they've learned and I've learned. So basically the more I just like put myself in the mess, the more I realized what I needed to take next time, or like, okay, the grocery store is fine, but maybe not this or whatever. But age difference can also make a huge thing too. Like Maddox is at the point where he'll kind of listen to me. Archie is not. So I can shift my attention a little bit more to Archie when I need to, and Maddox will kind of like stay very close by. But also it's only gotten better the more I've done it. So sometimes you just got to do it. How to stop being so terrified of birth, 37 weeks with my first. Okay, this is like very difficult to say, because even right now thinking about birth, I do get scared, but I've been really putting myself in a mental space of like visualizing birth lately. And even when I dream, sometimes I will have dreams of giving birth and delivery. And I've really just made sure to sink a lot of intention into like positive vibes. Like whenever I picture my birth, I picture this baby literally just like coming out with like a sneeze or a cough. Like I just picture my body like just propelling it out so easily. And I literally image myself going, that's it? Like, oh my gosh, it's done. Like I did it. You know, like I'm putting myself in that mental space of just like visualization, because I genuinely believe that helps so much. And it helped me so much even as an athlete, like visualizing how my game would go, visualizing us winning XYZ. Not that it means it's always going to like manifest out that way, but I think the more you can put yourself in a positive mindset, the more it helps. There is also this girl on YouTube, I think her name is Bridget Taylor or Bridget Tyler, something. She does labor and delivery videos, and I watched her during my labor. I watched her YouTube videos on like how to breathe during labor and how to like pretend like you're breathing the baby out, not pushing it out, XYZ, and those helped a lot too. So definitely kind of make sure you're putting in your energy realm positive birth techniques. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to read something negative or come across something negative. Try to just keep it very light and airy. And also know we're built for this. That's also what empowers me the most. If you want to go back and listen to both of my birth stories, I have them on my podcast, and specifically Archie's birth story. And I only say that because it was like the most recent. I remember saying out loud on like the podcast how like we're fucking made for this. Like don't ever worry about it. Like XYZ. So that could be a really good episode for you too. Polls or like roast and toast on Nickelback. I'm a fan, but I want to know if I'm not alone. I feel like I got to put this on an Instagram poll, but Nickelback, I can't say I would like bust them down right now, but like back in the day when they were like popping, like, yeah, they were good. So I don't think people don't have shit to talk. It might not be like right now they're popping, but like, I think we can still all respect their music. Look at this graph. Remember those memes? Okay. Anyways, how are you doing mentally with pregnancy this go around? Also pregnant for the first time. I'm high risk. Been following you since before you were married. And it looks like it got split up. And oh shit, I can't find the other part of your message. And I'm going to just make up something in my head. And I hate you. I am feeling so much better. I mean, there's always going to be good days and good days and bad days in pregnancy, like period, point blank. But I feel like like I said, I've just really been honing in on this positive energy, this pregnancy. I've said it since before we even found out we were pregnant with a third, that like my third pregnancy is going to be so fucking perfect. It's going to be great. I'm going to feel great. Delivery's going to go great. Like I've just been speaking it over it the whole time. So I'm continuing to just lean into that. I did actually get a call the other day, which was really annoying, but I got a call the other day from my doctors. Basically I have like really low hemoglobin. So like I'm at risk for, it's called gestational thrombosis or something like that. So I might have to go get like steroid shots and like go to hematology to like check out my blood more and stuff. This happened the first time I was pregnant with Maddox. I remember them telling me, they didn't give it a name, but they told me your platelet count is low. And so if you were to go on to deliver one day, you go into the delivery room, they take your blood, and your platelet count isn't high enough, you can't get an epidural. From what they told me, that's kind of the only negative. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with me or like with baby or anything. They were very assuring on the phone. But regardless, it was just like, God damn it. Like, why? Just like, let me be fucking normal. So that's the only hurdle right now in my pregnancy. But even then, again, they were very kind, very generous in explaining what they were talking about, as well as just saying it's nothing negative right now. I'm just trying to work on focusing on like my diet, making sure I get some additional things in there for the deficiency that I might have. And also just in general, like if I were to ever right now, like cut myself or something, I would just need to make sure I'm applying very great pressure because my blood like won't necessarily clot as easily right now for whatever reason. So other than that, I'm doing very good. The baby's healthy, baby's moving. I'm in tune with my body. I feel good. I'm performing good. My gym workouts are like fucking great. Like I'm just in a good spot right now, but I'm also 29 weeks and I'm telling you, I know it will go downhill, but I'm just like basking in it as I can. Did you order a wedding album? Any recommendations? I actually didn't, to be honest. I just have all of my photos still in like my Google Drive, like in the cloud. If I ever make photo books though, I either go through Chatbooks or I use Shutterfly. But yeah, I didn't actually make like a wedding photo album, to be honest. The more I think about it, I think we got married and then we moved from Florida to Ohio, moved into our first home, got pregnant, COVID. I just don't even think we got around to it, to be honest. But I would definitely start with either Chatbooks. I fucking love Chatbooks. I wish they would sponsor me. Like, can you guys all go blow up their DMs and like say that I talk about them all the time? I use Chatbooks every month. And then Shutterfly, I also love a lot. Did anyone else seem to find it difficult trying to lose weight while breastfeeding? So obviously you're asking this to like a total poll. So feel free to answer or comment and sound off in the comments. Let me know, or swoop into my DMs. I actually have a client right now who has really struggled losing weight postpartum while breastfeeding as well. This is common. A lot of people don't just zap off weight, breastfeeding postpartum. Now, there are people that will do that, but some people, it really does take the opposite effect of just, holding on to fat cells, etc. So, the biggest thing, honestly, is just knowing that during that point in time, regardless of what your physique goals are, your body is serving a purpose, and that is to fuel your child. Now, could some of this still come down to naturally, like nutritional intake, diet, calories, output, etc., and maybe we're just like naturally kind of quote overeating? Sure. Maybe we're not using that breastfeeding to get us into that natural deficit, but also, like I said, some people, they're just stuck there. They could be doing all the right things in their bodies, just like, nope, we got to hold on to this in order to continue to produce. So everyone is very different. That's why, when I do work with my clients and we work one-on-one, we're able to really like hone into it individually, but to give like a very broad answer to people, it's hard to like, I don't want to use the word diagnose, but for lack of better terms, it's hard to like tell you why you could or could not. How do you deal with the postpartum hormones? I feel like a mess. Oh my gosh, that's one thing I am just like not looking forward to, because that I know is a whole different like mind fuck in itself. I struggled a lot. I think, probably anytime before 10 months postpartum was really difficult. And then whenever I would wean from breastfeeding, I'd have another difficult couple months. With Archie, I was almost 18 months postpartum when I found out I was pregnant. So a year and a half. And I was really starting to feel like I was stepping back into my own, like full total body. I felt like, give me a full 2 years postpartum, I'd be feeling pretty normal. And then I got pregnant again. So I think at the end of the day, we have to realize how much of a toll it does take on our body. And we just can't be shocked at that timeline, as uncomfortable as it can be, where you're like, I just want to feel like me now. You're just probably not, and you kind of just have to combat it with, again, just like good diet, good exercise, mental health, therapy. If you need to be on medication, get on medication. Make sure we're staying hydrated. Like, there's a lot of just self-help things that we also can do to make sure that we are taking care of our body in that way. So that would kind of be, my encouragement there is like, you just do. How do you deal with it? You just fucking do. And I think that's when I really dove deep into therapy and just had that unbiased place to share a lot of emotions, so that I wasn't like oversharing with my family things that I would regret saying like 2 days later, you know, because like that can happen a lot too. Postpartum, you're saying things, you get wild up or you feel like a certain feeling, and then you're like, you word vomit, and then you're like, fuck, I didn't even mean any of that, you know, or something like that. So that's kind of what I would say. Sending hugs to you. This is a great question. Advice on handling in-laws getting divorced. Whoo, speaking to the choir, because this happened to me literally like 7 to 8 days post-wedding. My brand new official in-laws shared that they were getting divorced. After just, you know, being at our wedding together, dancing together, taking photos together, it fucked us up. My husband and I, you know, it was my husband's parents. It fucked him up more. But for me, they were also this light to me and this encouragement of what a marriage could be, because I come from a divorced family. And so to see them and see Wyatt have Christmas with his mom and dad together and all that stuff, I remember being in his home the first time we were dating, 2015, we did Christmas at his house. And I was just like, holy shit, like you get to wake up with your mom and your dad at 20 some years old, well, we were like 19 at the time, and have Christmas. Like, that's so cool. I didn't get to do that. You know, my parents got divorced when I was in 4th grade. And so it was a really, really, really hard time for me. I felt a lot of resentment against both of them because of my own issues of dealing with divorce already. It was like I felt like my other parents were divorcing, and like I had to go through divorce twice, you know, and it was like, what the fuck? But also, I think the only thing we can lean into is knowing that like some people are better not together, you know, and that doesn't mean it can't hurt you. It doesn't mean you can't feel a certain way. But I really, again, dove into therapy because I was like, I don't want this to affect my relationship with either one of them, because I view them as such parents myself. I don't want to like hate my parents. You know what I'm saying? And so again, diving in, and at the time I was using BetterHelp because it was basically during COVID, the beginning of COVID. I was able to kind of dive into that and realize, okay, why am I feeling this way? And what do I need to do to fix it? You know, but honestly, I think just feeling what you need to feel is most important, because just because they're not your parents and they're your in-laws doesn't mean you can't be like hurt or upset or mad or disappointed. You know, that's still a big part of your life. And, you know, God willing, always will be, you know. Sending hugs, because again, I feel that. Just feel what you got to feel, and know that there's not a proper way, because even though they're not your parents doesn't mean it doesn't feel like it. When do you find out the gender? Are you waiting? So yeah, for anyone who maybe hasn't caught up, hasn't known, or just, you know, I don't like disclaim this every time, but we don't know what we're having. I still don't really have a hunch. Like I do, and I will continue to say this, I really do feel like it's a girl, because it's just so different, and I feel like the way it connects with me is just, it's giving so feminine energy. Like I just feel so womanly. I feel so girly. I don't know how to explain. I'm just carrying differently. My cravings have been different. My sleep energy mood has been different. I'm just different. But also everyone who's around me, they always say girl too, even random strangers. They're like, oh, do you know what you're having? You know, they'll come up. And I'm like, no, like, do you get a vibe? They're like, oh, it's a girl. Like, it's funny. So if it's not a girl, will I honestly give a fuck? The answer is no. Like, I don't think I can explain how much I love my boys, how much I love baby boys. Like, they're so cute. Kids are cute, period, right? Like, your own child is so important to you. But there's not like this internal battle for me of like, oh, but like I want a girl so bad. Oh, but I want a boy so bad. Like, I just don't care. And maybe it's because I've had 2 fucked up experiences that at this point, again, I'm like, just give me a fucking normal birth delivery opportunity. And I have maybe a different sense of gratitude for it than I would if maybe I just had like 2 perfect pregnancies in the past, whatever. I've already gotten what I've got. I've already gotten what I've wished for. And that is a healthy fucking baby, genetically, physically, like all the good things, right? I've already gotten what I wanted. And I think that's maybe why I don't care so much. Would I love a girl? Of course. I think I have 2 boys close in age. They can buddy. And then I would have my daughter, and I would love to see myself in another woman. You know, I would love to raise another strong fucking badass woman, right? But at the same time, I take so much pride being able to have the opportunity to raise men that will then treat your fucking daughter right. You know what I mean? Like, I have a lot of pride in that too, of just raising some fucking fine ass men and respectful men, you know? So I take pride in in both, you know, parts of what I would be doing. But yeah, we'll find out. I'm very excited. I feel like not knowing has been a really fun feeling. There has been times, like I said last week, where I can feel very disconnected because I'm like, God, I kind of wish I knew what you were. And I kind of wish I maybe even had like a name for you so that I could connect with you more. But also, on the other hand, like I mentioned, I've already connected with it in a different way because I'm just like so grateful. You know, I'm looking down at my belly right now. Like, I'm so grateful you're okay, that like I am connected with you already because I know you're already so fucking strong for me, you know, and it's kicking around right now. It's like, it's just, we're good, you know, like we got each other, you know? So this baby's given me a good experience, and like, that's the connection that we kind of have, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm laughing. Someone said, can Don't Be a Beach pre-workout come back? My absolute fave. No, like literally, bitch, cherry coconut, honey, they need to bring that back. Like, you don't even have to give me the props for it, okay? Just fucking make it. Not a question, but I think we'd be the best friends. Shooting my shot. Hee hee. Guys, I'm so serious. I wish I could be friends with all of you. Why do you think I go to a lot of my followers' houses and we go to concerts together and shit? Like, it's weird. I've been to a lot of people's homes. I've ridden in a lot of random cars. Like, I love you guys. Like, if we ever meet, we typically do end up being friends. Will you release a core guide outside of the challenge? So the answer is yes. I'm still working, like I said, on my pregnancy guide as well as a pregnancy core guide. Ideally, this is going to be a plan, and how I have it written is it's a 3-phase plan. So there's core workouts that you can do in your first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and then I'm also doing a little mini added like bonus section of what you can do to like loosen up the pelvic floor, labor prep, stretches, stuff like that. So it's going to be like a guide where, you know, you can go into it and click like trimester 1, and then you can pick your favorite, you know, core workout to implement that day. So it's not going to necessarily say, okay, 6 weeks, 5 days pregnant, do this plan. Like, it's going to be up to you to be able to utilize that plan, but you're going to have a plethora of like options to choose from, I guess, that you know are safe and efficient for where you're at in your pregnancy. Do you think you guys will ever hit a festival again? The absolute answer is yes. I want to go to Coachella still so bad. I just feel like it's like my vibe. I want to. It's like kind of like I don't want to say it's a bucket list thing for me because it's not like that big of a deal, but like I do want to go. I also would love to still go to like EDC, like Las Vegas or even like Orlando again. I love festivals. I love music. I love good vibes. And I did also really love going to the Austin City Limits Music Festival. That was really fun. But I like to also kind of dress up. Like, I like to have like a theme or something. So that's where I think Coachella, Stagecoach, or like EDC would be more fun for me because I could kind of like get jiggy with it, you know what I mean? Instead of just going to like like Lollapalooza or something where it's a little bit more like reserved. If I'm doing it, I'm going all the way. Okay, last question. There's a lot of questions on here this time. We'll have to do another, you know, catch up Q&A here like another time too. Did you get anxiety once you could feel the baby's kicks? I wasn't anxious until now. It's like I couldn't feel them before, I didn't care. And now I'm like, ugh, haven't felt them in X hours, etc. 100%. It's kind of like the first 12 to 14 weeks for me. Every time I use the bathroom, I would always check my toilet paper. Or if I felt like a gush of like, you know, natural, probably discharge or something, I would get scared it was blood. You know, naturally worried about like a miscarriage or just bleeding, implantation bleeding, stuff like that. And then after 12 weeks, you know, 14 weeks, you're like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit more confident. And then you typically feel baby. I mean, it depends, right? But let's just say fact of the matter, let's just say between 17 weeks and like 21 weeks, you typically feel baby a little bit more often. Both times with all my kids, I've probably felt them around like 18 weeks, 19 weeks. Right before anatomy scan is when I really would start to feel the baby move. And then once they started moving, yes, you were kind of like, okay, so like how often should they be? And I'm now at the point where you should be feeling them move probably about 10 times every 2 hours. It's where you get into the point of like kick counting. And that's even more stressful because then I'm like, holy fuck, have I even felt them move? I haven't even been paying attention. And then shortly after, like, they will. But then you kind of go reverse because once baby starts to get big, they run out of space to move. So then you start to feel them less. So then your mind's just like a mind fuck because they're so close to being on the outside that you want to make sure that they're still safe on the inside. You know, we can all come across horror stories too, where it then freaks you out naturally. Okay. But I think for me and for even you or anyone pregnant, hold so much confidence in the fact that you're in tune with your body. Okay. Stay in tune with your body. Like sometimes I even just like to like sit, close my eyes, and I'm just like with my body. How am I feeling? I almost do like a full body scan. Like, okay, my shoulder kind of feels tight. My chest is kind of tight. Ooh, I'm rounding through my traps today. You know, blah, 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 blah. I just kind of scan my body. And I feel like the more that I've continued to do that, it's not every day. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I have like this routine. But the more I've checked in with myself, the more I've been able to really know, okay, this doesn't feel normal, or this is normal, or yep, this is normal, so that I know what would be abnormal. And that's how I knew, you know, with Maddox that shit wasn't normal, because I was like, okay, he usually moves a lot after my workout and he wasn't moving. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on that. But by being aware of like what your baby does, and again, it doesn't have to be every single move, every single day, you know the exact time, but just having those awareness of like, they're usually pretty active at night, or if I drink cold water, they usually start moving around and blah, blah, blah. So you have a plethora of things to like try if you ever feel like, okay, is that working out well? Or is that normal? Whatever it might be. So I think that, you know, the anxiety doesn't leave, and I hate to like not, you know, I don't want to sugarcoat it for you, but you think you're anxious now in your belly, then they come earthside and you're even more fucking anxious, you know, like, and that's where postpartum anxiety takes over hard. And that's where it's like, just please make sure you are getting the help you need. Please fucking seek out therapy. Please seek out medication if you need it. Just take care of yourself, because it can honestly drive you fucking mad. And I think about how terrible my postpartum anxiety was with Maddox specifically. And I, as a first-time mom and in COVID, you know, I'm not around other moms or other people. I had no clue. And to voice certain thoughts I had, it's not like I'm just going to go on my Instagram and be like, hey guys, just curious, did anyone think about their baby not waking up from their nap today? Push on the poll, yes or no. You know, push on the poll if you're worried about SIDS. Like, that's so fucked up to like put into other people's space without consent, right? So it's like, I'm not going to get on everyone. Hey guys, just had this intrusive thought, wanted to share, you know. So I didn't know what was normal and what wasn't. But that was a dark time. So just if you're already noticing some stress and anxiety leaking in now, please just make sure you continue to address it, because I'm telling you, trying not to sugarcoat it, bitch, it's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm just keeping it fucking for real with you, because you think when they come out, you're like, fuck, I wish you were back in my belly, because not only could I at least sleep, but also I actually knew you were safe in there. So yeah. Anyways, hope you guys liked today's episode. A little bit of pop culture, a little bit of goss, a little bit of me, you know. And at the end of the day, that's what we like to do here. We like to just do whatever we want. That's what I love most about my podcast. This is the one space I literally just do whatever I want. I'm kind of obsessed. Also, if you're still listening and you're part of that 1%, I have thought just for a second about bringing back my YouTube videos for just the last 10 weeks of my pregnancy. And I want your guys' feedback. It's not something I want to make crazy. I was just thinking of like one vlog a week to document the end of this pregnancy on like a day of what I'm doing, whatever. I've thought about it. I'm not saying I'm committing to it. I've just thought about it because I feel like I'm going to regret not having anything to like look back on. And I'm like, okay, well, I could put it on YouTube. And also like, I love my YouTube. I just feel like I never have time for it. So regardless, if you're part of the 1% that actually cares, and to my point, would actually be the one to watch my YouTube, would it be something that would be fun? Let me know. Okay, love you guys. Happy Sunday. Thanks for visiting the Church of DESB in my basement.